Tackle My TBR Shelf, Take 3. Hey guys, it's Janie. Welcome back to the Bookworms Buddy. We're back here for Tackle My TBR Shelf, and as I explained before, this is a shelf that I have put together. It's books that maybe I'm going to unhaul it and give it a second chance, or it's a new book I brought in, or I'm just perusing my shelves and I find interesting books that I've had for a while, so I'll put them on this TBR shelf and get them read and decide whether or not they're keepers or they're out the door. So I had 21 books on that shelf, and I am currently on book number 8, and that one is What You Hide. This is by Natalie D. Richards. If you guys remember, I read 6 Months Later by her, and it was just okay. So this one I'm hoping is going to be better. I am currently on about page 33, and so far it's not too bad. We got two different perspectives going on. We've got Spencer and who was the other one? Mallory. So we got Spencer and Mallory. Spencer is this kid that is always getting in trouble, or he's just doing things that he shouldn't be doing. He likes to climb stuff, if that makes any sense, and that usually gets him in a lot of trouble as well. Mallory is in a broken home. She lives with her mom and her stepdad, and her stepdad is right now verbally abusive to them both, and she's trying to get her mom to leave, and she has not yet. So that is the two characters. That is the gist of it. She ends up going someplace else to a friend to stay, and then Spencer ends up having to volunteer at the library, because that was one of the things that happened in the very beginning of the book. He climbed up the library and broke a window, and now he has to volunteer there. So I'm going to guess that they probably come together at some point in this book. So that is what I'm currently reading, and I'm on page 33. So let's cover the books that I read prior to this one for the week. In my last video, I was getting ready to start The Night Sister. This is by Jennifer McMahon. This I actually ended up doing as a buddy read with a couple of friends of mine in our Bookworm Buddy group, and it was okay. It was okay. It wasn't very realistic. It would be better set, I think, in like a fantasy story, not in like a mystery thriller kind of way. I did like the characters, and in this one you've got these three girls. You've got two of them are sisters, and what are their names? We got Margot and Piper. Those two were sisters, and then Amy is their friend, and they discover something about Amy and her family, and they end up not talking for a while. It just causes some issues, and later down the line when they're grown up, Amy, her entire family is murdered, her as well, so they blame it on Amy as like a homicide, suicide situation, and that's the gist of the story. It did take kind of a different turn, this story did. It wasn't anything I expected it to be. Like I said, it would have been better set for a fantasy, but it was okay. I rated this 3.5 stars. The next book I read was Caravel, and this is by Stephanie Garber. This was amazing. I have never read anything like this before. You got two sisters, and there's this Caravel, which is actually like a game, and Scarlett is sister number 1, and she had mailed this, his name is Legend, who is the person who started Caravel, every year. It's over and over and over, asking them to come to where they lived on their island so that they could experience this. What Caravel is a game where people can just be a part of it. They play the game. And this year was Telly, who is Scarlett's sister, is kidnapped, and that's the game, and they have to go find her by being given clues to get closer to her and discover her. This was just an amazing story to me. I've never, like I said, I've never read anything like this. It's kind of like circusy, but it's not a circus, and it's just the world building I thought was fantastic, and the imagery was just like, I felt like I could be there. It was just written so well. I can't even believe, I never thought I would like this book. I got to this book on my shelf and I'm like, okay, this is a YA fantasy, good luck. But this one was just amazing. The characters, all those characters that you love, and of course all the characters that you love to hate. Like, the girl's father was just a horrible person. He was just a horrible man. And you can't tell me that you're horrible because you're trying to protect them, because that just don't jive with me. There's just no way this man was just a terrible person. And just when they get there, and I just couldn't even believe it. Like, there were the magic and the imagery and just everything about this story. I know I'm just rambling on right now, but it was fantastic. I can't wait to get to the other two books. I think I read this book in less than 24 hours. I was hooked. The flow was great. And of course I rated this book 5 stars. And the last book that I read for this week was Run, Rose, Run. This was another surprising book. Now, this one is by Dolly Parton and James Patterson. So, this is a story about Annie Lee, and she's on the run. You don't know why she's on the run. You don't hear anything about that, not until the very end of the book. You'll learn about all that stuff. She's on the run, she's got a past, and she refuses to tell anybody. She finds her way into this cat paw saloon in Nashville, and she tries to get the man there running it, Billy, to give her a chance up on stage, and he gives her that chance. And somebody comes in, his name is Ethan, and sees her and hears her talent, and he goes to tell Ruth Anna. And Ruth Anna is supposed to be Nashville's sweetheart, and the story goes on from there. It was pretty good. There wasn't a whole lot of thriller parts in it, which is what you expect is going to happen. But the thriller parts that were there were good. Like, unexpected. Like, the very first part was just like, what? And I never expected that to happen. I did only rate this 4.5 stars because I would have liked to have seen more action and thriller and that kind of stuff, like James Patterson's part. But as you guys know, James Patterson does write like contemporary romance too, so he probably had a hand in all that as well. It was just a good story. It's more a story of survival, and overcoming and that kind of stuff. So I really, really, really enjoyed this one. I also did find out when I was like over halfway through the book that Dolly Parton does indeed narrate in the audiobook. She narrates Ruth Anna's part. And whenever I was reading this, I would tell my husband, wow, I can just hear Dolly Parton's voice saying these things. And then I find out later, after I've already gotten over halfway, I find out that she does indeed narrate this book. So, anyway, if you like books about the music industry, if you like Dolly Parton, if you like James Patterson, any of that stuff, I would say this book would be really good. This is really, like I said, more about survival than it is about the thriller part of the story, but it is indeed a very good story. So, this one was 4.5 stars. This is Run, Rose, Run by Dolly Parton and James Patterson. So that is the wrap-up for week 3. Those are the books that I read for Tackle My TBR Shelf. And I don't have too many more to go. Like 13, maybe? And I don't think I'll get those 13 books read in this last week, but you will see that when it comes up. I have read other books in between these on my Kindle, and those you'll get in my April wrap-up video. But if you guys have read any of these books, comment down below and we will talk about it. Thanks for staying tuned, and I'll see you in the next video.